afternoon. Welcome. This is the Smart Future Smart Cities panel. We're glad to talk about Mexico and New York. It's very good for us. And we are beginning today in the morning talking about the issues of the city. Minister Rosario Robles talked about what is going on with the Mexican urban law, the environmental laws from the 70s that are applying today in Mexico, which we need to solve that gap between reality and our law. But also technology and many new inventions are working and are trying to get into the cities as they could. In Mexico, physical and digital interconnection of cities is the main issue, maybe the main problem and the main alternative. Also, the challenge to innovate, it's a challenge of getting into the cities. It's making the way through government so the government could apply or let you apply the new inventions in the city. Smart cities, connection and efficiency, and the ability to deal with the common things of the daily basis of government and try to change the way we do things. I'm here today with three panelists. First, I want to introduce Dr. Angel. Thank you. Friendly call, Soli. Professor Angel is the professor of city planning and director of the NYU University expansion program. And also, he's a very devout promoter of Mexican's urban future. He has been working on an initiative to deal with what is happening in the cities that are growing upper to 4%, or they're expanding the cities over 4% every year. He has been successful to introduce this initiative in other countries in Africa and Asia and America Latina, and now is dealing with the biggest of this problem to deal with Mexico. How cities are growing according to your point of view, Doctor?
Thank you, Gabriel, for inviting me, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the future of cities in general and the future of Mexican cities in particular. I want to make a couple of simple points. First of all, we're trying to make cities inclusive. What that means is making them inclusive to the people who are coming and to the lower income people who are already there. And that means that they need affordable housing, good jobs, and good public services. Affordable housing we can keep happen as long as we keep expanding the supply of urban land. So choking the supply of urban land is not an inclusive policy. And I'm afraid that Mexico is following this policy right now out of the trauma of the bad developments of these housing estates that went too far. And that because they went too far, they lost the idea of what compactness is. And for us, compactness is like, think of a circle as something that is compact. And these leapfrog developments are not compact. So what we need is some strategies to expand the city from where it is towards the outside, rather than to allow, whether housing estates or industrial estates, to jump out of the city. That's the first thing. The second thing is cities are productive because of their agglomeration economies, and their agglomeration economies have to do with everyone there getting the best job possible. So it has to do with integrating their labor markets. And integrating their labor markets means that anybody can get the best job, can commute as far as they need to get their best job. So what we need is to integrate these labor markets, and the transportation systems that we have now are not doing that. So we're failing on the affordability question, and we're failing on the access question. Two very worrisome developments that need to be addressed.
So solution is in the planning? Is the first intention that we have to fill?
Yes. I believe that the solution is in planning, and I'm not sure whether the new law is going to address the questions that need to be addressed. I mean, this is a kind, for now, an opaque law. We don't know anything about it. Earlier versions of the law, I know, had ideas about what to do about urban expansion. I am hoping that this can be addressed. But what needs to happen in terms of planning is minimal coordinations on creating arterial grids on the periphery of expanding cities, minimal coordinations between different municipal authorities to make this happen, and allowing for enough expansion to take place to keep land affordable.
Okay.
And densification is not a strategy to keep housing affordable.
That's a great statement, because the main policy now in Mexico is to densify as the
Yes,
first intention.
It is.
And maybe infield, and also continue expanding, maybe also alternatives that we can
Yes.
continue doing.
Yes, I hear about densification. I'm a great champion of densification. I vote for it whenever possible. But when people talk about densification, unfortunately, they don't know what they're talking about. We can hope, but let's say we contain the city. Everybody there has to densify. How are they going to densify? Right? Okay, so it turns out there are only 5 ways to densify. 5 and only 5, not 6, not 4, not 3. The first is to have people consume less space per person, right? Instead of having 3 people in the apartment, having 6 people in the apartment. That's lovely. Economic development works in exactly the opposite direction. When you're richer, you want more space. This is why densities have been declining for 200 years in Paris. In Paris, in the 1800s, during the time of Napoleon, there were 500,000 people per square kilometers. 200 years later, there are only 50,000 people per square kilometer, right? Because people are consuming more land. They're consuming more space. Their houses are bigger, the schools are bigger, the roads are bigger, everything is bigger, right? And we want to go in the opposite direction. Fine. Let's say we can convince some rich people to not build 250 square meter homes, but to build 125 square meter homes. Whoever can do that, call me, I'll come and look at how you do that.
Okay.
The second way of densifying is to build higher buildings. That's a lovely idea. I want to point out to you that to build a higher building, you need finance, right? Nobody's ever been able to build a higher building without going to the bank and saying, look, I need a construction loan, I'm building a higher building. A lot of the stuff that has been built in Mexico has been built without finance. So we're assuming that there's finance where there's no finance. That's the second thing. The third thing is, to make cities denser, is you have greater plot coverage, right? Instead of saying, well, you can't build here, and you can't build here, and you can't build here, you can build all the way out. We outlaw that. We don't allow that. We say, well, we need, we need this, the neighbor, the privacy. Okay, so we're not getting plot coverage.
Okay.
Okay. The fourth way of doing it is to have a larger share of the land use in residential, namely less in industrial, less in commercial, less in schools, less in everything else. But as we know, residential is only 40% of the city. It's not 70. If we could make it 70, we could densify. And finally, we need to fill in every open space in the city, right? And people are very reluctant to fill the open space in. They like the open space. They want more open space. So nothing that people want to do helps densification. It's just a formula with no way to implement it.
Okay. So you know now why intentionally I present first. Sorry, Angel.